Hey, this is Graham Finley, and our podcast is about the psychology of the sense of hearing.
Joining you is Sean Record and
Kaylee Moore.
And let's do this.
Oh, you can just read it mine.
You said it, Sean. Let's get down to business.
Sound waves form the basis for all that we hear. They come in varying frequencies and wavelengths, and these waves bounce off solid objects. Here is how the human ear processes hearing. The outer ear funnels the vibrations into the middle of the ear, where the vibrations of air convert into mechanical vibrations of the organs and tissues in the middle ear. The eardrum is connected to ossicles, 3 bones inside the ear, that move when vibrations are felt by the eardrum. The vibrations by the ossicles are sent to the inner ear that is primarily composed of a snail-shaped organ called the cochlea. The cochlea is filled with fluid. This fluid moves when sound waves are felt. The chorea organ located inside the cochlea performs sensory reception for the auditory system. The tiny hairs of the chorea organ move because of the fluid in the cochlea. Depending on the frequencies, certain hairs will move. This movement stimulates the specific hairs and sends nerve impulses through the acoustic nerve. The acoustic nerve connects to the cochlear nerve nucleus. The cochlear nucleus sends the auditory information to each side of the brain. The brain will process recognizable sound as well as background noise versus primary sound.
Okay, so we as humans can't hear every frequency of sound. Hearing depends on frequency and intensity. There are some things that we hear that other animals don't because they hear things at different frequencies. For example, a dog whistle can be heard by a dog because they hear frequencies of 10 hertz and 50,000 hertz, unlike humans who have the frequency of anywhere from 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. Bats can hear frequencies up to 100,000 hertz. Human speech is normally between 500 hertz and 4,000 hertz, but we hear best between 3,000 and 4,000 hertz.
Really good. Hearing has, of course, always been paramount to our survival. When we were all cavemen, there were predators and enemies out there that would hide and stalk you to take your food or eat you. Hearing is important for survival because humans. The auditory cortex transducts sound action potential into auditory code, which in turn is incorporated with the rest of the senses, so if you see who you are talking to, you recognize that the sound of the other person's voice is that person. Hearing is also linked to memory. Even if you do not see the source of a sound you hear, you can recognize what it is if it is familiar because of the principle of sense memory. Bats actually use their highly developed sense of hearing to echolocate prey by seeing how the sound bounces off things they want to eat, like sonar. Humans actually have similar hearing to marine animals, like dolphins. The wrestler here in the foreground is going to use echolocation by detecting the location of sound waves to counter the wrestler in the background's move. If you watch this program, you'll notice that the wrestler in the foreground often does these kinds of moves because he's able, with highly adapted senses, to see people behind him using sound and hearing. That's our podcast!
Yeah!
See you later.
Bye!
All right.